Rama 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 Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanastu. We have offered the Nama lotuses at the lotus feet of Bhagwan with deep gratitude, knowing that this is no small grace, that we are able to be here at this time, the Sandhya Kal, the evening twilight, sitting in the shrine, the powerful shrine of Bhagwan, and singing his powerful name. What a great blessing. Let's celebrate this grace and know that this is the foundation of our life. We have been seeing glimpses of Bhagwan's grace, how it works, how it comes to our rescue in different difficulties. Today, we shall see the glorious story of Srimati Lalita Amma of Siddharajpura. It's a village near Shivakasi, and Lalita Amma goes to Bhajanashram every day to do her flower seva. It is she who would string the flowers as mala for Bhagwan, and she did it with great dedication and love. Now one day, it was as recent as last month, April 18th to be exact. It was about 9 o'clock or something. She wanted to listen to the Ramayana speech by Sri Muralidhara Swamiji. There was no tower reception inside the house, so she came to the portico, sat there, chanting Yogi Ramsuratkumar Nama all the time, listening to Ramayana as well. When it was about to be over, it was nearly 10 o'clock. She got up and suddenly she felt a sharp sting in her big toe on the left side. A very sharp sting. And then she turned, frightened, and what did she see? A cobra running fast and disappearing into the darkness. She knew that she had been bitten by a poisonous snake. And she could see the marks of the 2 teeth of the snake. And immediately she started to shout, "Oh, snake, snake!" We know we all do that. As soon as we spot a snake, it may be going a little far away, but still we all shout. It is in the very nature of things. So when she shouted at 10 o'clock in the night, "Snake, snake," naturally all the neighbors had gathered there immediately. And they saw what happened, and then they just took a string of cloth and then tied it up very tight below the mark so that the poison would not go to other parts of the body. She had been chanting the name, completely absorbed in Ramayana as well. So that had brought about a change in her. Despite what happened, the enormity of the occurrence, she was composed. She was calm. She went inside. People urged her immediately to go to the hospital and get the medical treatment. So she agreed. She understood the need for it. She ran inside. She changed her clothes. She kept chanting the name Yogi Ramsuratkumar all the time. She went into the puja room. She did her pranam to Bhagwan Yogi Ramsuratkumar and to the picture of Shri Muralidhara Swamiji. After a little worship there, the chanting continued and she came out, her brother and her daughter. They took her on the two-wheeler to the GH nearby. It was 20 minutes journey. And then as soon as she went into the hospital, the doctors and nurses there, they realized what had happened. And immediately she was given an injection and three tablets also. The doctor on the spot came, checked her eyes. He pulled it out, he opened the eyes and saw, and then he asked her to lift her head. And she did. She was able to do that. She swallowed 2 tablets because she had to do it immediately. She did that. But when she took the 3rd tablet, she realized the 3rd tablet was not going down. She was unable to swallow it. And what was more, she was becoming breathless. She could not talk. Also, she made a gesture with her hands to the people present there that she was unable to swallow. And immediately, as soon as this was reported to the doctor came fast and attended on her, and that was just the time she was slowly sinking. And what was more, her eyes were going up there, and there was foam in her mouth. But she was still conscious, and the Nama was going on inside. Despite all that was happening, she was still conscious of what was going on around, and she continued the Nama. Her heartbeat, and she felt even the other parts of the body were slowly coming down. But Bhagwan's Nama continued as strongly. Just see, how could this happen? She was so conscious that she even prayed, Bhagwan, I have been wanting to do the service of flowers to you all my life. But if you should decide otherwise, put an end to this, I will accept it as your blessing. Now, for someone who has been bitten by a snake, going through endless pain, with foam in the mouth, the eyes had already gone up, and she was slowly losing her consciousness. If she could still pray like that, what could it mean? Amazing that somebody could still keep her Nama going and make a prayer like this. She cannot be an ordinary woman. All her service, everyday service with dedication and devotion to Bhagwan was coming to her help at that time. keeping her conscious and projecting this prayer. It's fantastic. The doctors, the story of the doctors and nurses is different. Now, they were all very agitated. They knew what was involved, and therefore they started the treatment immediately. As she was sinking slowly, losing her consciousness, she felt something being pressed upon her nose and something being pressed upon her chest as well. Now she lost her consciousness completely. No Nama chanting, no prayer, everything was gone. She was still breathing, and whatever happened afterwards was reported only by her people who stayed on. The next 1.25 hours, the struggle to keep her alive was going on, and they put her on the ventilator. And then the first thing they did was they emptied her stomach, because it may still contain food poisoned. So that was removed, and then they sucked whatever was left in the lungs, because the poison had entered there also. Then all the doctors and the nurses were at the treatment in some way or the other, struggling and struggling. And finally the doctor said, look, our medical treatment is over. Whatever we could do in the circumstances, we have done. The rest is in the hands of God. But we have to wait for 1 hour to know how she is faring. So it's only 1 hour after I can tell you whether she would survive this attack. Otherwise, you people have to take her with the ventilator on and go home. We can do nothing more about it. You can imagine her relatives, brother, daughter, and other people were surrounding. Naturally, it was a great shock to them. They were shaken completely. But they continued the Nama together, and now desperately they continued. They went on and on and on, praying and praying with all their being. Bhagwan, please save her, please save her. That was the repetition, and then there was the repetition of the Nama. So 1 hour passed completely in prayer and combined Nama chanting, and after that, wonder of wonders, by pure grace of Bhagwan, Lalita's eyes moved slightly, giving hope to everybody. So now the Nama continued more vigorously than before, more strongly than before, with hope and cheer in their heart. And then slowly she regained her breath, and the doctor, who was watching her all the time, heaved a huge sigh and said, "Oh, she has survived. No, nothing more to worry about. But she has to continue in the hospital for 2 more days, and we will continue the treatment for her, but she has crossed the danger." So, once again, just think of the situation, put yourself there, either as a relative of Lalita or as Lalita herself. What a marvel! What a wonder! How could this happen? Continued Nama chanting, continued prayer has done the miracle. Now the next 2 days she stayed. She says, half humorously, every nurse, every doctor kept coming to her to tell her, "What a wonder, how strange you have survived. We have never seen a case like yours. How is it that you have survived? You are still alive." And then they would go on to a lengthy description of how the doctors and nurses and everybody in the hospital were anxious and struggled on to revive her. Now 2 days over, the third day, they shifted her to an intensive care room, and there even the watchman came and told her what happened. But everybody said, it's not the medical treatment, it is not our anxiety, our trial, it is the God you prayed to. It is He who has done it to you. It is by His grace that you are still alive. The third day, again they took the blood test, urine test, the motion test, because they had to make sure there was no poison, no trace of poison in all of them, that there was no poison at all in the body. But everything was becoming all right, and all her parts, parts of the body began to work, and it was the fifth day. The room became very hot. She started to sweat profusely. There was so much sweat, unusual. It is one advantage when the sweat comes out, all the toxic substance of the body, they come out in the sweat. So it's good to sweat. That's why God has given us summer. Everything that God has given us is only to assist, to help our health condition. These seasons have to be there, and our reactions of the body to the seasons must continue. Now here, where she was put, it was so hot, she sweated profusely, and it helped her further, though she was unable to tolerate it anymore. The hot was too much, the heat. She could not bear it. But then again, just see, because the Nama was being continued by her all through these days, all through these tests and treatment, that she thought, okay, even this has been given to me by Bhagwan, and whatever he does is only for my good. So I shall accept it. It's a wonderful attitude. I wonder how she developed this. It takes quite some preparation of the mind, especially when the circumstances are demanding otherwise, that you should be able to keep your calm and your prayers as well. She was cool in her attitude, though outwardly she sweated profusely. Now the doctor said, didn't the doctor say that she had to continue for 5 days in that intensive care? Now 3 days had already gone. Though on the third day, she wrote a letter to the ashram in Tiruvannamalai and also to the ashram of Shri Muralidhara Swamiji. And now she started to wait for the ash prasad, the vibhuti prasad from the shrine. After 5 days, she was discharged from the hospital, but one would think that the problem was over completely and that she had bounced back to health, but it was not so. In fact, the problem started after that because there was inflammation where the snake had bitten, and therefore there's a lot of swelling, and the inflammation caused acute pain. She was unable to put her foot down at all. But she went home, they gave her antibiotics, and they tried out several antibiotics, but the pain would not stop. In fact, the swelling became more and more, that at one point she was unable to bear it at all. In the meantime, a devotee of Shri Guruji said, there is a doctor in Virudhunagar, why don't you go and see him? So she went all the way to Virudhunagar, only to be told that the doctor had gone to Shivakasi. And the doctor had referred another doctor there in Shivakasi, so she went back to Shivakasi and waited for 45 minutes. Again, only to be told that the doctor had gone to Virudhunagar. Now, why I mention this, when a bad karma of the past janma begins to bear fruit, so many such negativities happen. Unnecessary roaming, wandering, expenditure, pain from either the body or from the people around, all kinds of negativities will become active. It's all part of the karma, what we call fate. But once you have taken refuge at the feet of the lotus feet of a great master, 75% of the fruit of your bad karma is taken by the master. It's only 20-25% you have to go through. But even that 20-25% is too much for us, that we scream. And it's good that we scream, because if we scream Yogi Ramsuratkumar, it would bring further relief. If we simply scream and not the name, then of course it's a private hell. Can't imagine how much more we have to go through. So the Nama is our strength. No matter in what condition we have been put by Bhagwan, because even the law of karma has been made by God. You know, if you take a stone, how many beatings it gets? The stone doesn't know that a statue is coming out of it, that somebody is chiseling a deity out of the stone, for which hammering is absolutely necessary. But the stone doesn't know. It feels only the hammering. I remember once when I was in Sudama, I started to live very close to Bhagwan in his field of energy. I felt at one point all my emotions were swinging high and low. There was a wide swinging of moods from the highest to the lowest. It was all very strange to me, and I was thinking that it was a very clean, smooth and short path to success. But here something else was happening. I approached Bhagwan. I said, Bhagwan, even sitting in your presence all the time does this to me. Why is that I'm reacting like this? It should be the other way about. I should become more and more calm. Then Bhagwan smiled and said, come with me. And then we got into the car. He brought me to the spot where the Pradhan Mandir construction was going on. It was 94, so they had just started the work, and there were huge gaping pits for huge pillars to be erected. And then there were mounds of soil around, and then there were heaps of these small stones. And people were crisscrossing the place, carrying this and that. And there was a machine going on with so much noise, it was grinding those small stones into powder. You can imagine the chaos that one could witness in such places where a building, where they are laying the foundation. Bhagwan said, he smiled and said, Devaki, do you see how chaotic it is, how disorderly? But remember, one day there will be a beautiful temple in this place. For that beautiful temple to come, this is absolutely necessary. So you see, all the beatings we get, all the hammerings that we get in life, the sufferings because of past karma, they are only blessings in disguise because they push us towards God. That gives us a greater kinship with God, because we become desperate and we think of God with more devotion. We realize the helplessness, utter helplessness, and resort to God, God's blessing. Now see, Lalita Amma's foot was so bad, more and more swelling, more inflammation. She was unable to bear the pain at one point, and what was more, added to it, now this extra moving about in vain. All that happened, but once again, Lalita Amma, with her great service to Bhagwan and continuous Nama chanting, has attained the preparation of mind that she began to realize everything is happening by the will of God and it's good for me. If this is Bhagwan's sankalpa, that I should go through this hell, I should go through this pain, then I have to accept it. There's no other go. Now, see, she had written the letter, I think probably on the 24th or 25th. She was still waiting for the reply, for the vibhuti from the ashram, and she was longing for it. A letter takes about 2 days to reach the ashram, and then 1 day to be kept at the feet of Bhagwan with a prayer, and then the reply takes again another 2 days. So it will take at least 4 days minimum. On the 30th, she promptly received the vibhuti prasad from the ashram, to her great delight. Now immediately there was a wonderful change in her body and mind. She felt so happy. She felt a new strength, a new happiness, and she decided now all that swelling and pain, everything would go, that she would soon be back to normal. So 30th was the 12th day. She went to the doctor. Of course, she was unable to walk. You know what the doctor said, looking at her foot? Now we have to peel the skin of your foot. Just imagine, peeling the skin of our foot. Can you even imagine it? Sometimes when we get into a wrangle with somebody, we threaten, I will peel your skin. You see, I will peel your skin. Now this is literally happening here. The doctor said we have to do it. If we do that, the swelling will go. Because even the skin was affected by the poison. So that had to be removed for her. So the doctor said that. And just when he started to write the medicine for that, he said, Amma, I'll give you some tablets and injection so that you'll be able to bear the pain. She said, Doctor, is it necessary? I will go through the pain. The doctor said, no, you cannot do it. You cannot imagine this. And when the doctor was about to write the medicine, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, a butterfly came. What was more, its direction was specific. Its movements were specific. It went straight to Lalita Amma, went round her, and it came straight to the doctor then. It went round the doctor, and then it was moving about in the room for some time, and then flew away. Now Lalita Amma had new strength in her body, new hope, new cheer, and she is very, very sure that everything is going right and she would soon be out of it all. So she said, she began to take those tablets, and in 2 days she was able to put her foot down and walk a little. Of course, she staggered, but she was still able to put her foot down and walk. It was a great progress for her. The doctor was wonderstruck, but he still kept to his insistence on peeling the skin. He said, look, it's not over yet. I have to give you anesthesia. You have to go through the COVID test, CT scan, etc. So he went on adding one after the other. She stopped him in the middle and said, Doctor, there is no need for all this. I will go through it without them. The doctor said, surprised, how can you go through it? It will be a terrible pain. She said, it's all right, doctor, because she had the strength of Nama. She said, no, doctor, I will go through it, I'll bear the pain. Please start doing it. It is the Nama that gave her strength. So she started to chant the name vigorously and in full swing, in desperation. She says, the doctor gave an injection, but despite the injection, when he touched the foot, there was pain. So when she showed the pain, the doctor was happy because he said it's a good sign, which means those parts are active. And then he did what he had to do. He removed the skin, and then 15-20 minutes, the peeling of the skin was over, and Lalita Amma says, with great determination, I had no pain. I did not feel any pain because I was chanting the name all the time. And I was thinking of Bhagwan, I was holding on to his feet, and I got absorbed in my Nama chanting. I did not feel the pain. Just see, it's not the details that are very important here, one after the other. I'm sure at every level it must have been a hell, one kind of hell or the other that she went through. But all through that, amazingly, she had shown a great mental strength, resilience. This is God-given. This must have come only from her association with Bhagwan, her Nama chanting. This is what she admits herself. And then after that, they dressed her up and said, every alternate day you come to the hospital, get the dressing done, and you will be all right. Everybody in the hospital, every relative, every friend, every neighbor said to her it was a new birth for her. Of course, she knew it. It was a new lease on her life. And she became more determined now, more dedicated. She kept telling Bhagwan that the janma that you have given to me, the life, the new lease on life that you have given to me will be spent completely on my service to you. It will be spent on your service. She vowed with renewed strength, dedication and devotion. So this is the story of Lalita Amma, which tells us many things. That despite our devotion to God, devotion to the Guru, despite our continued Nama chanting, our past karmas will start to bear fruit. The bad karmas will start working, will start playing up, which is what we call fate. We have to go through a certain suffering, definitely. But if you have taken refuge at the feet of a great master, and if you continue remembering his name all the time with prayers, you can be very sure it's only about 20 to 25% of the effect of karma that you have to go through. Even that may prove to be too much for us. Nevertheless, it is grace. Just imagine what would have happened without the Nama chanting. She would not have survived it at all. It was a vicious bite from a poisonous snake. Nobody could even imagine that even people would attempt at reviving her. Such was the case, but it happened and she survived. She survived purely by the grace of the Nama. So let's face these challenges of life with great strength, the strength given by Nama, the strength of our great master, the strength of our devotion. This is the only way. There is no other resort. And this is also the purpose of life. The purpose of life is only constant remembrance of God. If we don't remember God and take it easy in life, there would come a certain circumstance where you would be reduced to utter helplessness. And then you will be forced to take resort to God. So it's better, even when we are healthy, when we are in good condition, to take to the Nama chanting and draw our strength and new life from that. Now this Bhagwan, who did all these wonders amazingly, is here right in front of us. Let us submit our today's prayer at his feet. Bhagwan, just as you saved Lalita Amma, now we beg you a million times for your immediate divine intervention to free all those people who are in the monstrous grip of this virulent virus. Please save them. Give them relief from the virus and bring back normalcy in every aspect of life. Bhagwan, we beg you again and again for uprooting the panic from the hearts of people and all other negative thinking. And the rapid spread of the disease should be stopped immediately, and this could happen only by your grace. We beg you again. And all those people who are still in the grip of this, expecting proper treatment, we beg you again and again to reach out to them with your grace and do the needful so that they get proper treatment, get well soon, and return home safely. And all those great, great soldiers who are marching on. Despite all the discomforts, they've forgotten their food, forgotten their sleep, and laboring hard day and night at the very risk of their lives, just to save other lives. It's a great tapas for all these people. They don't need any other tapas. They will be blessed by God, and we seek your blessings for the complete protection and all-round welfare. And also, we beg you for a boost to our economy. And of course, above all this, constant remembrance of your name and the attitude of gratitude and the blessing to be a fitting instrument in your hands, even while we go through our life as an offering to you. Bhagwan, above all this, we seek that great, huge blessing from you, by which the purification will take place in us, that we go through the transformation to be able to see only your presence and your grace in every happening of life. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar